Okay. So I'm basically just gonna read out the book on this part. I'll just be honest.
The longest chapter.
Hmm?
It's the longest chapter on this text.
It is?
It says in the introduction, this is by far the longest chapter in this text. The very first sentence.
Which chapters?
6.
Oh.
Sorry.
Well, yeah, 6 is very important. But it's actually not that bad. You let me help. So, but we're starting off 5 for a little bit of context on inflection in language. So, inflection is when a word changes its form. Okay? And I'll just take out of here. So, when it performs a different function, it can change its form. Like whenever I'll just personal pronoun she, when it is the subject of the sentence is she, but when it's the object it's her.
Right.
Right? That's inflection. It's a female person, but subject object it's different. That's mainly what you're going to have to deal with in Greek is a lot of changing like that inflection. And most of it will be on these things called case endings, which we'll get to in a moment. Do you all understand what cases are? Or do I need to explain that?
A case?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so like there's in English, I don't I know the Greek a bit more. I could explain it weirdly because I don't know the technical names. The subjective case in English is the subject if the word is the subject, so like she, that's in the subjective case. But it's in the objective case whenever it's the direct object.
So
And
it's like
the subject is what's doing the action, the object receives the action.
when there's the possessive case.
We're not talking about that till next chapter.
Uh,
We're not talking about there's only 4 cases in Greek that you'll have to deal with. Today we're gonna do the nominative or nominative. I'm sure I'm saying that right. It's a whole different thing. That the tenses are mainly in verbs that we're going to be dealing with, and that's like past, present, future. And then there's aspect and a bunch of other stuff, but we'll get
first.
yeah, and person. So like first person, second person, third person. We'll be dealing with all that, but right now we're dealing with case. So that's what role it plays in the sentence, basically, and it has a different form based on what role it's doing. Greek is very much about that. And then here in the English, it lists number, gender. You all probably get that. Like he and they are different numbers. He and she are different genders. Greek has 3 genders, by the way. It has masculine, feminine, and neuter. Does it?
More than just 2.
Yeah, masculine and feminine.
English has 2.
And that's different, by the way, than what like the actual gender of the thing is. So like just because something's a feminine gender does not mean the thing is a female. It can still be like an it or referring to something that's a group or masculine even. It's just that's what we'll get into called declension, which I will again, that was one of the things I was like, I don't know if I'm ready to describe that in a way people understand, besides the Greek part. So in English, there are different ways to form the plural. For example, to form the plural of most words, you add an S. However, other words form their plurals by changing a vowel in the word. So, like man becomes men. That would be like 2 different declensions on how to make a plural. Okay. So there'd be one declension that you just add an S to the words in that one, and the other declension you change the vowel. There's going to be things like that in Greek. There's three declensions, first, second, and third is literally just what they're called. And that's also what we'll be starting to look into today, along with case and gender. Though gender kind of goes with the declensions a little bit. Actually, I should specify we're not going into third declension. That's a whole mess on its own. And is that you all know what a noun is? You all know what an adjective is, right? Word that modifies a noun. Prepositions.
Making schoolhouse rock.
Okay, you all know what prepositions are, right? I asked someone today and they didn't know. Okay. Okay, you do then. Do you all know what an article is?
Article like that.
I read one earlier this morning.
Hmm?
I read articles.
The a and.
Yes, the, a, and an. A and an are indefinite, and the is the definite article. We do not have an indefinite article in Greek. You just have a definite article. If there's no definite article, you can sometimes insert an indefinite article of a or an with a noun.
Okay. So an indefinite article is a or an, and then a definite is the you.
Yeah, the. Not duh,
Definite.
the. Yeah.
Definite meaning
THE.
like
Just want to make sure I
saying
said that right.
it's the kid. Or specifying that certain one instead of indefinite like a kid. It's just not specifying.
So there is no indefinite articles in Greek.
No, there's no specific word for it. They just are implied.
Oh right, okay, I see.
Yeah, that's the difference. Like, there's not going to be a one-for-one translation between English and Greek.
Okay.
Like, some of the stuff you're gonna get to a point with Greek where you're reading it and you understand it, but you're not gonna know how to put it in English because English won't have like a one-to-one with it.
I see.
And also, one thing that's gonna mess you all up later is Greek does not use the same word order. The subject in English is typically at the beginning of the sentence. Not so in Greek. It can be anywhere to add emphasis. There's also these fun things called postpositives, where if they're in a sentence, they will automatically be the first thing in the sentence, even if they aren't translated first. So instead of trying to look for word order, what you'll have to do when you're translating Greek is you'll have to look first for the subject or the verb and try to translate them, and they'll help you locate all the other things in the sentence.
All right.
But that's for them, but this is now. I do like uh y'all don't have books. Well shoot, I can't just be like, oh, turn to that page. Look at that.
I'm
That's
looking at
fancy.
Look,
Yeah, I can go over there.
Oh yeah, fair. Also, your page numbers are different. So go to 5.14 and hopefully it's the same thing.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, the chapter 5.
Yeah, there's the points, that help you figure out what. The Greek subject and verbs, I do like the little section they have about the verb endings. That can kind of give you an idea. It says I and we are considered first person, you is second person, and everything else, he, she, and it is all, and all nouns are third person. And then they show the ace ending on graph-ace tells you it's the subject you, meaning you write. That's the type of stuff you're going to have to go with because, like, on the next line, graph A is he writes. You kind of get the,
A and E.
yeah. So that's the type of just change you're going to be looking for on a lot of things, is just mainly endings. And it will completely change, like, the person or the case or something. But now we'll head into chapter 6, and where do I want to start? I already told you it's masculine, feminine, or neuter. There's different endings for singular and plural. The stem. That'll be fun. I'll just use their example. So the stem is the base form of the word besides the root. And you'll get into verbs and you'll realize there can be different stems and different tenses that are based off of the root. But for now, we're just going to say that the stem is basically the most basic form. It's typically the same as. So, like the stem of logos is logon. This is an ending you will learn. That is the root, log. Gonna have that. It's not too bad.
Doesn't that
So
mean word?
stem and the root.
Doesn't that mean words?
Yes, it means word.
Word.
This is specifically, as you'll learn in a minute, this is the masculine singular, masculine singular nominative form. The masculine singular nominative is always the form that you will see in your vocabulary, unless it's always a feminine word or a neuter word, and is always the one that shows up first in lexicon. So you'll find logos instead of logon or something, or logoi, which we'll get to in a minute.
Yeah.
I'll just go ahead and start helping fill out this chart. Not really chart, it's not going to be much of a chart. So we have first and second declension, and also third, but we're not going to go much into that right now, okay? Sure, this looks good on the board. You can't even see it, can you? Okay. First declension typically are your feminine nouns, okay? They end in alpha or eta. So you can typically associate alpha and eta with feminine. Your second declension typically end in omicron. Make sure there's no exceptions, because a lot of things in Greek, there are exceptions, and I hate it. Yes. Okay.
So logos was singular. It wasn't a plural.
Logos is singular.
So like the word became flesh. That's logos.
Yes. Okay. These, which I'll go ahead and write. This is your masculine and neuter, which I do want to specify there are exceptions. There can be masculine and neuter over here. I don't know if there's feminine really over here, but you won't really see it much. Third declension, if I'm remembering correctly, are ones where they end in a consonant. I spelled that right. Good. I should bring that down here. And that can be any of them. And that will be chapter 10 all on its own, because it is literally you having to memorize an entire different chart from what you're about to learn with these two. Hope you enjoy that. Already went over word order. Oh yeah, some words are also indeclinable, so they don't really match any of these categories, and they just kind of always stay the same. Don't know what to tell you on that. Did they give a good example? Oh, like So like
So,
so weird to try to write.
so a
That's
lot of
Israel. And that will always look like that, whether it's nominative or accusative,
so most proper nouns are going to be that third term.
typically. They can change some, but typically they're going to look the same. You're going to be able to recognize them because typically they're capitalized in your reader's version. Can anyone guess what that is? Even though I kind of already said it.
Is it Israel?
Yeah. Isn't that fun? Now you can kind of see the pronunciation. Okay. I already told you about. I'll give you the technical definition or technical name. This is a lexical form. Masculine singular neuter or masculine singular nominative is literally just called a lexical form because it's the form that'll show up in your lexicon, which is basically just a dictionary in case none of you knew that. Or any of you didn't know that. Mentioning it just in case.
I have a question that's off topic, but so I know that by the time that the uh, that the Hebrew world had become Hellenized, that this Yahweh term had kind of fallen out of fashion, probably because of traditions that made it so sacred that they wouldn't use it. But is there any aspect of it where it could have fallen out because it was hard to say in the Greek?
I mean, in the Greek, I haven't seen Yahweh or anything close at
Yeah.
all. They just use theos.
Uh,
That's it.
yeah. But I mean, how is it impossible even to say Yahweh in a Greek context?
I mean, I don't think so. Well,
In the
actually, there's like there's no W really.
Uh,
in the Christian worldview class, like the name God said for himself, it wasn't really pronounceable. So I think that he said it didn't have vowels. Something.
I mean, it's kind of a Hebrew thing.
yeah.
So they didn't even try to say it. They would just more have said, or they more have said Yahweh or that.
Yeah.
So I don't really know too much on that one, but
That's okay.
anybody else have a question? No? Okay. So I already told you about the word order. Now we'll get to the case studies. You two who looked in the book might have been slightly confused with two charts that said they were the same things, but were technically they looked very different. I'm going to tell you which chart to memorize because I'm going to make your life easier by a mile in the long run, and you'll understand it more as you go, how it works, instead of trying to make you understand it now, because it'll kind of just come to you and you'll be like, oh, that's why that does that. That's how my teacher did it, and I really appreciate it at this point, so I'm just going to give you the chart in the better manner. Be ready to add like 2 extra cases, by the way, next time. But you're going to have the nominative singular, accusative singular. What is that actually adding? Nominative plural. accusative plural. And we're going to have, this is how all the chart's going to go for nouns. So don't be surprised later. So we have our two cases, nominative and accusative. Nominative is the subject case. Okay? And if you want, I can write it and spell it on the board. Yeah. And then accusative is our direct object. So, subject, object. The nominative will always be the first thing you try to look for in a sentence. Since you're trying to find out what's doing the action, what's doing the verb, and then that will lead you to what's being acted upon, the accusative. So you might be familiar, in the masculine nominative singular, there's an omicron sigma. Wow, big surprise. You've already seen that several times. In the feminine, there's two different options, depending on the word. There's an eta or an alpha. And then in the neuter, there's an omicron nu. And so that's just the singular form if it's the subject of the sentence, which we'll go into examples after getting the chart and answering questions. But I'll go ahead and show you. So this is where it starts confusing because some of the forms look exactly the same, but you'll be able to tell by context, typically. So the accusative singular masculine is also omicron nu. The feminine is just adding a nu to the ones before.
Adding a one. Oh, so new.
So yeah, they go from eta to eta nu, alpha to alpha nu.
I see.
And this one goes from omicron sigma to omicron nu. This one is an omicron nu. So you want to go ahead and add separation. Just so you know, keep these separated more than the others. Because we want to keep the plurals are like a whole different playing field, especially when we get to genitive and dative. You're going to have to revise your whole charts because those are going right in the middle of these. But as you can kind of get the thought process, right? That one has a bunch of nus. This one, there's also a pattern. Omicron iota. That's when there's a plural. There's no eta endings in the plural for the second declension. There's only alpha. So if it had an eta ending in the singular form, it's going to be an alpha regardless in the plural. Okay? And then these are just alphas. And I'll just go ahead and tell you now, this is also an alpha. The neuter, nominative, and accusative is like always the same, pretty much. Just yeah. So then the plural in the accusative for the masculine, we start to get to three. It's omicron, upsilon, and sigma. And then we have an alpha sigma for the feminine. You may or may not have to memorize these charts for tests. If I do any, hardly. The answer is yes, you would have to memorize the charts for tests. And I guess I'll go ahead and remind you. Don't laugh at me in your minds. This is second declension. That's first. That is second. Do not forget the declensions. We do not go over third declension yet. Do not try to associate neuter with third declension. Okay? You look confused.
I'm just trying to soak it in.
Just like taking time, like, okay. So, what do you think so far? How confused are you on a scale of 1 to 10?
I'm
Each
like
of you.
a 6 or 7.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
She's
So that's
confused
pretty
herself
high
there.
up. That's pretty high up.
3. Reminds me of
Wow.
learning Spanish.
It kind of helps if you. How well do you know Spanish?
I tried learning it a few years, but I was also homeschooled, so I couldn't say it. I remember
Ah.
looking at a lot of tables.
Okay, so he's used to the confusing tables. I don't know if y'all remember reading this, but there's this thing called the fog that the book mentions. It is a legitimate thing. You will literally hit roadblocks in your Greek learning where you'll feel like this is impossible to learn. I don't know what I'm even reading. But if you just keep pushing and keep trying, it will just click and you'll be like, okay, I'm out of the fog. I get it. I get it now. Finally, after doing enough of it, you'll finally get it, kind of thing. But not like an exhaustive like type of thing. You just have to give it some time. That's why I kind of want to have this as like a small group thing where we can kind of encourage each other in it. Because otherwise, that's a type of thing that would make somebody drop out of class. Is because it's a legitimate thing that literally every one of you will have to go through. I went through it. You'll go through it several times. This just insurmountable wall that will just clear up randomly. Okay? Just persevere. This is probably gonna be the first one for you two, sounds like a bit. Are you alright?
Thanks.
Okay. Like, and we'll all have different ones. Just tell me if you legitimately get to a point like that. And we'll try to help through it as a group. Okay? I want to just specify that. Don't look smug back there. Okay? Is that the right expression that you had? I don't
He
know.
was,
No.
he was looking.
Okay.
No. I was just
I don't know.
Spanish.
Okay. Well, you're supposed to be thinking about group tables. The teacher recommends you learn them left to right, not top to bottom. And I 100% agree. Do not try to go, okay, that's all the masculine ones. Okay, that's all the feminine ones. No. Case. Case is the most important thing on this table. Because that determines the functionality in the sentence. Okay? That is the main. If you can figure out its functionality in the sentence, the gender kind of goes to the side a bit. Okay? And you can pretty well figure out, like, based on the article, you can figure out if it's plural or singular, which we'll get into articles in a minute. They're pretty similar, actually. Let's see. They have a bunch of important stuff and hints. They say to use flashcards. I never used flashcards, even with vocab. I just kind of made myself read over the vocab. I recommend walking the track if you want to really memorize your vocab. Just hold the book like a weirdo or whatever you got and just read through them, either in your head or out loud. It's really nice. Plus, you get your steps in.
What?
Uh, that probably would help. Do you all want to see it with actual words?
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
That probably would be helpful. I just saw it in the book. I was like, yeah, that is probably a good idea. I am kind of stealing a lot of my ideas. I'm just here as like a guide, I guess. I didn't claim I was doing anything original in the first place. We're gonna go with everyone's favorite word. Word. Logos.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, what form is that in?
Nominative singular masculine.
Yes. You just get ready for parsing. The word is parsing, and that is where you literally have to look at a word like that and tell me the exact things you just said.
I see.
You'll have to be like, oh, that's a nominative singular masculine word. That will legit be a thing. I hope you all actually look at the workbooks. Try to work on the workbooks, even if you don't have a book. Do it on notebook paper. It will save you in understanding. Workbook. Don't do the stupid questions like name the 7 vowels of the alphabet and write them down on there, or like what are the noun rules. I don't care as much about that. If you can translate, you can translate. Do the parsing charts and try to translate sentences out of the workbook I gave you in the teams. Okay? It will save your butt. What's the word they gave here? It's like agape or something. Used aura? I don't want to use that.
Hello?
We're going to use agape. Now I'm forgetting, was it? Man, my teacher was right. Do not go like 3 weeks without doing this when you're done with it.
Yeah.
You will forget stuff. And I'm already like, man, how did I forget? Yeah, it is just doubting myself. What form is that? Leah, what form is that?
Nominative singular feminine.
Yes, okay. And what word did they use in the third one? I'll go with it, okay. So that means love, by the way. I should probably say that. Probably guess, though. Now we're gonna go with neuter. Should I go ahead and underline the endings?
We're gone.
Sure. Yep, that's ergon.
They're gone.
It means work
Work.
as a noun.
Okay.
So, Eli. Okay. So,
Oh. All right. Log gone.
and then parse it.
Parse it. All right.
Get used to that word. I'm going to say that a lot.
Log gone. All right. So it's accusative singular masculine. So that would be in a word where, let's say, it was Jack used the word, but in
Yes,
all right,
that would be right. You would have log on at that spot. Yes.
whereas if we were saying like the word is love, then that it would be logos.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
A better one for an example of the word, just to be technical,
Mm.
would be like the word contains let
Okay.
instead of is, because that's it's a whole different thing we'll get into later.
I see.
Trying to remember what that is. It's like weird fun stuff with adjectives that you're starting to get with there.
Mm-hmm.
Just by the way, there isn't a verb for is really.
Mm.
That you'll have to figure out when to use.
Okay.
Again, we'll get with that with adjectives. But okay. Leo.
Can you translate it?
Yeah, try to say it. Try to say it. So this one's agape. Okay. I'll give you that. It's agape. So what's the other one? My Ada's pretty bad at the end there. I'm sorry. You know what the last letter is? Yeah, it's a new. So if you just added an N to the end of something, what sound would that make at the end? Okay, so yes, agape. Yeah, it's agape. Yep, it's just adding an N sound. Yeah, agape. Okay. This will be a fun one where you all will be like, wait, what? Even though I already warned you.
Oh boy.
Which is that? Are you trying to pronounce it or what are you doing?
Well, I was trying to pronounce it.
Okay.
Aragon?
Yes, Aragon. Meaning work. And so if you saw this on one of your parsing charts in the textbook, the correct answer would be what?
Nominative singular movement.
Yes, but you'd also have to put accusative. You'd have to put both because it can be both. Well, okay. Let me rephrase that. It cannot be both. It could be either.
In that context.
Depending on context. I have to be very careful with my words now. I'm realizing that. Because that could have been pretty bad. It's like, oh yeah, it could be the subject and the object. No, no, it cannot. I'm so sorry. Yeah, no. It can be either depending on context. It cannot be both. You cannot be both. Okay. So now we're gonna go. We're gonna start again with Eli, and then we're gonna go to Jack, then Kulia. So we swap it around a little. Okay.
Exactly.
Now remember, I'm gonna go ahead and give you a hint.
Logoi?
Remember your diphthongs. And what'd you say?
Is it logoi?
Logoi.
Logoi. No, logoi.
Yeah, logoi. Yeah, guys, don't forget your diphthongs, because, boy,
Remember you dipped
boy, remember your diphthongs. Okay, Jack.
Agapai. 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 Agapai, and it's alright. So nominative plural, feminine, meaning so like if we were saying, um, like I don't know how to, like
It's a one you won't really see.
you won't see that very
It's
often.
like the loves.
The love. All right, so
The loves something did something, yeah. Like
yeah, I can't
maybe
imagine
picked
what
a bad
else.
example for a sentence.
That's all right.
The example they have is yeah, that's horai,
Four.
which means the hours. Well, hours. There's no definite article, but we'll get to that. Um, so that might have been a better example, but say the same thing, and that's yes, nominative, plural, feminine. So
So is it because I've done a little bit of other languages like Spanish too. Is it somewhat like Spanish where the gender of different things is somewhat arbitrary? Like, you know, I forget like chair, table, like misa, but it's a feminine table or chair. Is it kind of like the same Greek?
I think I already mentioned this, but yeah, just because like something's feminine does not mean the actual thing is feminine.
Mm,
That's just how the noun declines in the language as a feminine word.
all right.
Doesn't mean the actual thing is feminine. Like sin is a feminine word in Greek.
Sorry for you.
But that doesn't mean that sin has anything to do with femininity or anything of the
Uh,
sort. You're like, yes, it does. It's the kind of thing you're joking with. But yeah, that was actually an example to that question that my teacher gave. I do love
Sinner is
that.
just masculine, wasn't it?
Hmm?
Wasn't sinner masculine? Sin feminine, sinner masculine. Wasn't that what it said?
I don't know the word for sinner.
masculine
Offhand.
sinners created.
Hamartia is sin. I mean, the word for bad is masculine, kakos. Well, actually, no, that's an adjective. That doesn't count. Sorry. Forget I said that. Um, Adjectives don't have a specific gender. They can be in any of them. You'll learn that later. But yeah, so Cleo, pronounce if you can. Erga. Yeah, these are ergon, and that's erga. And then to parse it.
Plural.
Neuter. Yeah, it's neutered. You neutered them. We'll just end that there. You get the idea. I made some jokes outside with some people afterward. You remember that, right? Last time, making neuter jokes. It's just fun. Okay, who wants the nominative plural of logos? Who's gonna want to do it? I'll give you all choice.
Oh, I'll do it. Law.
Well, I was gonna write it, but I was just gonna see whatever order.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So you want it?
I'll take it.
I'm underlining the endings. Don't forget the endings. You might want to write down this as a separate chart.
So logos.
Lagoose. Yeah.
Logos.
Goose.
Logos. Okay.
Remember, oo is one of your diphthongs. Like oo in soup.
All right.
Who the heck
That's
stands
happy.
to?
That's just my sister. I'll ignore it. All right. So if I was like Jack used the words, that would be that.
Yes.
Okay.
I wrote the words. I spoke the words. Whatever, the words. Who wants this one? Of you two.
If I can take it.
Okay. Pronounce.
Arapas?
Hmm? Did you say Arapas?
Agapas?
Yeah, Agapas. I couldn't tell if you said Arapas. Is that what
I
you
said that the
first?
first time. It's Aga.
Yeah, it's
Not
Agapas. Yeah, remember the lexical form, nominative singular form, because it does not have masculine, is agape.
It's also
When you memorize your words, you will be memorizing this basically.
accusative oral feminine.
Yes. So, okay. How do you pronounce it? Cleo?
Paragraph.
Yeah. You happy you got that one? A little bit? Just a little bit. Okay, parse it. Can you parse it? Do you remember what I said parsing was? That's like naming the case, the number, and the gender. That's what you're going to be doing for nouns.
Accusative, plural.
Yes. Okay. How do you all feel about this noun chart so far?
Much better than being afraid.
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay. Now, do you want to? Oh, the noun rules. We're gonna ignore those. You can read those in your book. Read those like on the weekend or something. I don't know. Y'all don't have lives on the weekend, right? Oh. Okay, now I'm gonna erase this chart. I guess I should ask, did y'all write it down? Okay. Now we're gonna go to the definite article chart, which you'll find if a noun has a definite article, which will just mean the, pretty much, it will match the noun in case, number, and gender. That it's that simple. So if you can't even recognize, like in the scenario of these two, no, that won't be able to help you. But if you're having a little trouble with some of these, you can look at the definite articles because they won't get any weirder than this the entire time you see them. The chart I'm about to give you, besides genitive and dative, it will be constant. They do not do anything weird at all. Grab it for this. So, ha. So, in a sense, if you're going to say the word, you would say ha logos. The word.
Oh.
So, would it help if I stuck the word right next to it? Or can you do that in your notes?
Oh. It would help. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll just underline definite article. So the word. That's what that says. Ha logos.
Okay.
Because that has that rough breathing mark, and that basically adds that H kind of. If you were gonna put it in a letter, it'd be like an H.
But that's a
Ha.
that's an omicron.
Yeah, ha. Omicron.
Was that what you had
Ha.
before? An Omicron?
Yeah.
A rough Omicron? Okay.
Yeah. Ha logos.
That wasn't a delta?
No, it wasn't a delta.
Okay.
Okay. And you mind if I move to Quora for you all? Just so you could maybe remember it better in sentences, I guess. I'll go ahead and
So ha is equivalent to
this
the.
means hour. I'm just gonna write that. Huh?
So ha is equivalent to the when it's
Yeah.
marking.
Just the.
Yeah.
The word. And don't try to say I'm doing anything theologically there. It doesn't have to refer to scripture now. Or to Jesus. It can just be a normal word. Like the word the. So. Okay, I see that wasn't a funny joke. Okay. So that would be hey hora.
Oh, okay.
So the hour. You see what's going on here? You think you figured out the pattern? Huh? Sure about that?
I'm sure, but we're gonna do it.
Ta ergon is for the neuter. Just ta.
Oh, ergon.
Ta. Ta. So we have ha, hey, and ta. Those are your nominative singular definite articles. And so now with the accusative, we have ton logo. Now, if you're paying attention, you might notice, news. And you would be correct. That is a pattern. The definite articles typically get the same treatment as the normal nouns, which helps you recognize them and match them up. So tame. And I do want to specify on the noun chart for the singular, there was two versions of the first declension or feminine ones. There's not two versions of the article. The nominative singular will always be hey, will not be ha, like this one, but with an alpha. And this one will not be ton with an alpha. It will always be with an eta in the singular forms. Can you take a wild guess? I want to see if any of you can get this and what this definite article will be. Yes.
Is that the Final Fantasy?
I don't know. I think that's Zelda. My tabs are getting pretty sloppy, but you know what I'm writing. I'm not writing a paper or anything here. So not bad, right? Now we'll go ahead and just write this down for people watching at home. So we have the word, the hour, the work. The word, the hour, the work. They just function differently in the sentence, but they technically, in a way, mean the same thing in English. But again, they would function completely differently in a sense. So now we move to plural. Oh, I already did that right. Hoi logoi. Remember, the breathing mark goes on the second vowel if it's a diphthong. So that is a diphthong. Hoi logoi. Let me think of this now. Just insecure. Now, you know how I said in all these, they're all going to be etas in the singular, pretty much? At least with accusative and nominative. These are always alphas
Alright.
in the plural. So that's high hori. So the words, the hours. You see how these all mean the. They all mean the exact same thing, just the. Not that bad, right? Easy translation. Can anyone guess what the neuter will have? You think it's gonna be ta again with the omicron? Tau omicron? You got any idea, Cleo? You got a grin like you do.
No, sure, thank you.
Okay.
I was thinking it'd be different.
It is different than in the singular, but in what way? Anybody remember what happens to Ergon in the plural? Without looking at their notes like Jack did.
I just
first?
did. I remembered it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know you looked at it, didn't you?
I already looked like.
She's reading through the notes as I'm doing it on the board.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I'll just give you the answer now. It's ta. This is ta, but this is ta. They sound the same because it's how Omicron and Alpha work. Remember?
Oh, really?
Except in lengthening and shortening in their sounds. That's when they sound different. But in this situation, they sound the same. Forget I did that. You all didn't see that, right?
No, I didn't.
I want to actual
Just
honesty.
remember
Did you see
are
that?
recording yourself.
I know. You didn't see it. Okay. So, the words, the hours, the works. Anyone guess what this will be? Without looking at notes.
Is it going to be
Toy. You think it's going to be toy?
toy?
No, it's not toy. You know, Eli? Do you remember what happened down here, guys? Masculine, use it plural. Do you remember what happened to the nouns? Okay, it's first time learning it. I understand. I'll just go ahead and tell you. It's Toos.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Toos. With an upsilon. Yeah. It's not a weird name. Tous Lagus. The words. Can anyone guess what happens here? Or should I just write it?
Yeah, just
Should
write
I-
it. We haven't had
Okay.
enough time to memorize it.
Haas. Haas Horas. I think we'll make it through in time if it's not already 9 o'clock. It's not. We'll make it. And I will have you guess. What is it here? The same. Ta erga. Now let's see. Is there any examples of sentences that give in the book? Translation procedure. I'll check the workbook. Maybe I can give you simple sentences. I'd love to. That's what I wanted to do. Give you something to lead with. Okay. Are y'all ready for me to erase this?
Yeah.
Eli, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You all got these definitions as well? Hora, hour, ergon. Oh. You didn't see that. Ergon, work. Well, now you know. Okay.
Now, do you have a particular interlinear Bible that you would recommend?
I mean, I have one,
Yeah.
but I don't have one that I would specifically recommend besides just one I have, just because I have it.
All right.
I don't know. I would just recommend. I'll be honest.
That's all right.
I just picked mine out because I was like, well, that has a lot of stuff, a lot of features that I thought were nice, with like a lexicon inside of it. And at the bottom of the pages, it gave the definitions of like more obscure words,
All right.
and it gave little numbers on them, little footnote numbers. So I'd recommend probably doing that if you can. I have a Bible which I can bring it next time if you all want me to.
That's fine.
To show you, it has the Greek New Testament and the Hebrew Old Testament
Oh, excellent.
all in one. I would recommend trying to do that, and then at some point maybe learn Hebrew if you could. Okay, we'll see if you all can at least pick out all the details of the sentence. Don't let me go too over on time. One of you keep an eye.
I want to keep close, man.
Okay, do not worry about this word. Do not, I'm going to box it. Do not worry about it. That means we'll just use he for now as a basic thing. He comes. Do not worry about that. You have that translation. So, can anyone say this real quick? Or if you want to take a wild guess at what that says also, I'll let.
What is The hour he comes.
Yes, the hour comes. Yes. Can anyone say in Greek?
Hey, where?
Huh?
Hey, Wara?
Hey, fora.
Hey, Wara.
Fora.
Wara.
Oh, fora. Which the
What's a
the rough breathing mark does some weird things, as you probably know.
Wara?
Excellent.
Okay, I'll go ahead and tell you that you tried to do the X thing or something with that one.
Yeah.
That's erkatai.
Okay.
Right, erkatai. Because that's key.
Right.
Okay, the hour comes. Gosh, these are the warm-ups they gave? I hate the warm-ups, by the way. Look, so because they give you like part of a sentence, like that.
Yeah, that doesn't. Yeah. You need a full sentence. Chew
You don't want full sentences yet.
No.
You don't have enough stuff. This means I sent. So, does anyone want to try to say it first? Not translate it. Does anyone want to pronounce it?
I'm gonna try.
Okay.
Apostolo.
Apostello.
Apostolo.
Apostello.
Angelon.
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 Yes. Yeah. Angelon.
Correct. I send.
Translate this.
I send.
Actually, sorry. Can you parse this? Start with that. Try to parse it. Mentally put in your mind, what is it doing? What is it doing? Or if it helps, remember the endings. You can use your notes.
Okay.
You can
so
use
can
your
use your notes.
if you need to, yes. You can use your notes.
Wasn't that the accusative masculine singular?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't remember which one that was.
That's the first thing you want to do is you want to try to parse them in your brain. Be like, okay, so that's accusative, so that means it's the subject of the sentence. Okay, yeah, I send, that's the subject, I. There's the verb. Here's the definite article, the, which shares the
accusative
same.
points towards the direct object. Or accusative to the direct object.
Yes, there's the object of the sentence. So we have our
Oh.
subject, our verb, definite
Nominative
article,
would be if it's a-
and then does anyone remember what angelon? Huh? Yes. I send the messenger.
Oh, okay. So in that context, that's Holy Spirit text, right?
I mean it's a forward sentence.
Okay.
You can't you don't have enough context
All
to
right.
just say it's the Holy Spirit.
Do you know if the
Like
Holy
it-
Spirit's ever referred to as that? As a messenger? Like,
I know there's the Parakletos, which is the helper.
Yeah.
You'll hear that in BTS classes probably, especially with Todd. He's the only one I think who's really mentioned it. Parakletos. The messenger, that could be angel, messenger, possibly the Holy Spirit. I don't know.
Okay.
But I know angel or messenger is what you typically want to run with. I wouldn't jump too far. Unless it's just talking about the Holy Spirit before Hagia, Panuma. Though decline those, obviously. And then you'd be like, oh yeah, it's talking about the Holy Spirit in the next sentence. But yeah,
Alright.
looking good so far. How much time we got?
5 minutes.
Okay, we got time for one more. I can give you a whole. Oh wait, no. Well, actually, yeah, that would be great. I don't have to give you the subject or the object in that one.
I know it'll be way better in the long run, but right now, how the sounds are so precise. Some of the sounds like there are in English, the A has two different sounds. Where it differentiates. And that's really a much better word.
Okay, y'all do not know this word yet. It's from Autos. It's what's it called? Yeah, it's from Autos. It's basically your they word. They, them, he, she, it. It's all of those in one, and it can be any gender or case. But you will just decline based off the ending. So I want somebody, volunteers, to parse autoid.
A nominative plural, masculine.
Yes. And based on what I told you, he, she, it, they, them, what would it be? Is it the subject or the object? Based on it being nominative.
Oh, it's subject.
Okay, so it's he, she, it, they, them. All the options are basically right there on what it can be. Which one would that be? You don't have to think about gender in the plural.
What does the word mean?
He, she, it, they, them. That's it. That's literally what it is.
So what does the word mean? Autoid.
Yeah. He, she, it, they, or them. It depends on the context. So you're supposed to use your parsing based on the options I just gave you. He, she, it, they, or them. On which one it will be out of those.
Oh, it's them, isn't it? Or they?
It's they. Because it's the subject. Them don't do nothing. They do a bunch of stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, why did I? I'm so sorry for whoever I scared with that one. Will not be doing that. I don't know. That's we'll see.
So they.
So-
was
No,
no.
I told you they don't go in the exact word order. You have to change around the word order because this is a verb.
So they will see God.
Yeah,
Toy.
it's you don't actually have to put the if there's a direct article. And what?
Toy and theoi?
Ton theon.
Theon. On. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's accusative. Singular masculine. Yeah. And yes, it's they will see God.
They
Big-
will. Okay.
Yeah, this is will see. You'll get to future verbs maybe. Hopefully, it'd be nice. But
They listen though.
no, it depends on context because here we're using the Bible, right? if it's referring to God, you won't put the God. You're going to put God. It's just having the article there for the Greek. That's where it's like not a one-to-one. You kind of have to like throw it to the side because you're like, I know what it means. It means this is just referring to God.
Yeah. You're doing right. All right.
So articles are a little loose, but typically, yes, it will have a the.
So if you were like, let's say that we were talking about, like not the God, like we were talking about like maybe a god or like another something.
If we were talking about a pagan god, you
Yeah,
would probably put the.
So the actual sentence itself would be formulated the same. Autoi, ta, beyond, whatever it was.
I mean, again, kind of depends on the context. Like, they could think, oh, we're going to go see God. Though they would insert the name of the god typically. Or we're going to go see the god, meaning like at their temple or like at a statue or something.
Okay, I see.
So, context. But in our context, yeah, you don't need to have it because we're talking about Yahweh.
Yeah. All right.
Are we good?
Yeah,
Y'all good? How do you feel?
Yeah.
Now you just gotta let that sink in. Should we? I want to see. Do you all want to hold into this chapter a little longer for review next time? Or do you want, like, next time to start on the next one? We can spend another chapter, another day on this if you all want to review this more. And, like, have you all work on the workbook, maybe? If you can tomorrow, and then we'll come back and review it. And we'll just kind of sit and I'll have you all. Don't do the entire workbook for chapter 6.
Okay.
Just do like some of the warm ups, some of the parsing, some of the translation sentences. Do like the first 5 maybe each. And then we can do what's left over. Or does that sound good? Don't want to rush you all and make you all feel like, oh my gosh, I can't keep up. Because you still have to probably take some time to remember these, but if you want, we can also maybe leave some room to at least add in the chart for the next one, like at the end of next time.
Yeah.
If you all want me to prepare for that, or if you all want to maybe after you do, you're not really going to have much time with work to read the next chapter. I can maybe show you all the chart and give you all the general idea at the end of it if we have time.
It helps actually putting it into practice, like actual words.
Yeah.
So maybe you can go on over some of those after you.
Yeah. Which I also recommend before coming back, do review more of the vocab. Probably just do chapter 3 and 4 vocab for now. I don't think I will. How much vocab is on this? The early ones have a lot. I'll go ahead and add those. Do you all want pictures? Don't like fully think you have to memorize it. Just have like a list with you when you try to work through translate. Do you all want a picture of those?
Which you have the book. So I have been on the Memphis Theater that
You need a picture. Yeah, just this page. So don't worry. Yeah. Don't worry, but the point I'm at, I've learned over 200 Greek words.
Yeah.
Which is like 70 to 80% of the New Testament. So, we'll get there eventually. Don't worry, they start off in large dosages, and trust me, it's somehow easier in those dosages.